Wow, wow.
Welcome to DogStar.
Each week we sit down with a star of hip-hop and R&B, and this week we have the pleasure of sitting down with Beltz.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Good, how you feeling?
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming through. It's been a long time coming.
I know it, and we're finally here today.
Heck yeah.
I'm very excited to be here, guys.
We're huge fans, and I say we dive right on in.
Yeah, excited to learn about you. So, were you born in Minnesota?
Yes, born and raised in New Ulm, Minnesota.
New Ulm.
Home of Shell's Brewery.
Okay.
Got to throw out the local brewery, you know?
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And growing up, before you were old enough to like pick what music you were listening to, who was playing music around you?
Well, Mom was always on the pop music radio station,
Okay.
and Dad was 100% country.
100%.
Oh.
No
Couldn't escape
diverting.
it. Could not escape it.
But I mean, I would argue that both of those genres have had a heavy influence on your music to this day.
100%.
That's awesome. Do you remember the first album maybe they bought you, or the album that you had?
Man, the very first album I'm pretty sure that I bought was...
And it might be
I
jumping
think
ahead a little.
No, I think it was like Maroon 5.
Hey.
Yep. You
And
know,
what,
into
what
that.
age is this?
That 4th grade, 5th grade,
Oh.
something like that. That was right when they dropped that single, or they're like the song that took them up that level. And
Nice. Whose music did you like better, Mom or Dad's, when you were riding in the car?
Mom.
Oh, okay.
I was definitely more into the pop, but that's probably about 50-50 nowadays.
And
I
then
listen to a lot of country.
was that like Cities 97 pop or like KDWB pop?
96.7 down in Mankato.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And when you can occasionally get it, when I was into that probably 6th, 7th grade riding in friends' cars, you could get 96.3 from the cities all the way down there.
B96 all the way down.
Yep.
That's cool.
So yeah,
That's-
elementary school, middle school, were you playing any instruments? Were you in choir? When did the music bug get you?
It definitely at that age, I took piano lessons, I took guitar lessons, and I took bass drum. Tried to learn them all. Instruments to this day, I have piano in my house and a guitar in my house, and I strum them. I try to play, but I've never learned to play a song yet.
Well, we've actually got a 12-string guitar. Bring it in. No.
Hey.
Surprise.
But you noodle, are you playing any of these sample-ish style riffs on any of these tracks?
Trying.
Cool.
A lot of it's been outsourced to local people in the city of Mankato.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. Rewinding back, why didn't you retain any of this skill? Were you just focused on other things?
Focused
at
on
that
other
time?
things, yeah.
Right.
So the first band I ever tried to start was in like 7th or 8th grade.
Hmm.
And
What genre?
rock.
Okay.
Yeah, like kind of that Green Day-ish punk, that was definitely our lane. We rehearsed like 3-4 times, and that was it.
What was the name of the band?
Don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
Somebody does for sure. There was 3 of us. But yeah, that was so long ago.
If you remember the name of the band and you're listening to this anytime in the future, comment down below.
Drop
What's
it
the
below.
name of the band?
Yes.
And so rehearsed 3 times. Was this in preparation for a talent show or anything, or was it just?
Yeah. So back in the day at what was called Georgia's Ballroom, closed pretty much during that era.
Dang.
They had a battle of bands local thing, and that was like
Whoa.
the dream for us to go out there and play. And I want to say for sure, his name's Cody Nelson, guitarist, still maybe plays, but he went on to actually play at that, and I mean they placed really well at the local show.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, so you guys saw School of Rock. You could think you could start a band, competed in
Exactly.
Adult Battle of the Bands, and then that just kind of you
Fizzled out.
as a group didn't do it, but Cody did.
Cody did.
That's sick.
for sure.
That's
Yep.
cool.
And that was the first taste of stardom, or when was the first time you performed on stage?
On stage,
Like piano recital,
2011.
or-
No, I didn't. So in high school, these are my biggest regrets throughout my high school, middle school career. I never took band and I never took guitar because the friends I started hanging out with, it wasn't cool at that time,
Mhm.
and it just genuinely never kicked off like that.
Right.
But so the first time I ever touched the stage was in 2011 because of Intelligent Design, who put me on a show out in Sleepy Eye, Minnesota.
What?
This town, Sleepy Eye, is 15 minutes from New Ulm, probably has a population of 3,000. And they're going to hate me in the comments for if I'm butchering that
Lower,
completely.
we actually
but
have
exactly.
updated census
yeah,
data.
we're up
Yeah.
to 4,500.
Smaller town.
Right.
Yeah, but there was 300 people that came out to the show.
Whoa.
I kid you not. It was jam packed inside. It was called the Orchid Inn, which I think is also closed now.
What the heck?
Condemned probably because
Oh, no.
we stayed in a room the second time we ever played there, and it needed to be condemned at that time.
You're not making any friends on this interview, but
But
You know, it's okay.
at this time, were you a part of another band, or was this the more hip hop?
That was when Big and Nasty started.
Oh,
Big and Nasty,
okay.
the very first ever group. Shout out Rob, one of my best friends, who is the reason I sparked that music love back up, and we started writing all the time and doing shows from there.
fun.
Yeah.
So when you're saying writing all the time, did you have like a habit of like writing to beats or like
Trying. Yep. So like in later part of high school, probably 17, 16, something like that, I started writing and freestyling over stuff. We go to a house party and, you know, somebody else would be doing it and I'd just hop in.
School them.
Yep. Well, you know, yeah. Trained and conditioned for this.
Right.
But
yes.
yeah, it was a whole lot of fun being able to do that.
That's cool. That's cool. What so it was the duo.
Yeah.
Which one was which? Who was
I was big, he was nasty.
okay.
And we had 2 release songs ever so from 2011 to 2014, we stayed a group together, but we only ever released 2 songs, which are on SoundCloud, titled Lucy and Interpret Our Souls.
Okay, I think
Well, we had a catalog that was, you know, we had
Oh,
tons
the
of songs we
vault.
were performing all the time.
Oh.
But never recorded any of them. We've always talked about going back and doing a couple of them.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, is the last track of Fountain of Youth the same Interpret Our Souls track?
That's the one.
That's the same exact
Oh.
one. Why isn't the other track on Fountain of Youth?
It was before its time.
Oh,
Okay.
It just, you know, we were, and it featured this girl named Kelsey, and yeah, we thought we were going towards coming back to do an entire album, and it just never quite happened yet.
And was that more kind of the rock-based rap or the rap-based rock, or?
No, at that time it was definitely just rap. Like at that time, huge into like Yellow Wolf and that style genre. So we were trying to replicate something similar to that sound with our own stoner vibes at that time.
I mean, I think you guys nailed it, at least from some of the early tracks I've listened to.
Heck yeah. I appreciate that.
Heck yeah. Oh, you were mentioned rolling around in the car listening to music. That
Yeah.
brings back memories of like my childhood too, but a lot of like my big influences came from like that period of time. So like who's on the radio, what CDs were you playing in that? Sorry to backtrack, but it just
absolutely.
you have very unique style when it comes to the music and the music you choose to put out there, and it's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. Back in those days, man, I was huge into Everyone on Funk Volume. That label, that collective that they had going on, Swizz, Hobson, Dizzy Wright. Before that, into that Yellow Wolf, that kind of nittier, gritty sound. Before, taking back to like that 16, 17 though, cruising around, like listening to those kind of songs. It was like young Buck, or Young Jock, and like that kind of like gangster more so rap.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, those guys, and then it just progressed into finding more into the underground style as I started to write and figure out who I wanted to be as an artist.
do you do you continue your musical momentum after that, or did you fall into a rut, or let's
No.
continue along that timeline?
So Big and Nasty only ended because Rob moved to Arizona.
Oh,
Got a job out
Rob,
there, family. Hey, we gotta do what we gotta do for family.
I
Yeah.
feel that.
Always. But during that time, I had met Revy, who would become my future business partner. In the music when we created a label back in the day.
nice.
Is that Modest Music?
Modest Music, yep. And so Revy and me started doing songs and performing around the area, and then that takes us into like 2018, which is where Modest Music was formed.
Nice.
Wow.
So honestly, when I met Revy was when I first started recording. When Fountain of Youth came out in 2015,
2016.
2016, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
But it came out in 2016. I had set up a studio in my basement.
Oh, dang.
We built so there was the walls to the staircase and there was a closet inside of them. Well, we knocked that closet wall down, built a little booth, and started recording right inside of my basement.
Harry Potter
Nice.
style.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Because Ryan was at the time also my roommate for a few
Oh,
years.
perfect.
And so we were just trying to grow the music, grow the sound. That's where we first recorded Lucy and Interpret Our Souls too.
Nice.
But at that time, this was before we actually built the studio booth walls. It was just a bunch of
Padding.
no, it was blankets.
Hey.
Hey, but it worked.
Yeah,
That's cool.
so awesome to learn the humble beginnings, if you
Oh.
will.
Yep,
And I was gonna ask, was anybody like showing you the ropes of how to do recording and stuff, or is all YouTube learning?
So Ryan himself was definitely like deeper into the productions or
Oh.
producing side of things.
Totally.
And we both learned together from there. But I will say he definitely took the hands-on role. I was definitely the more partying business partner, the one that networked, the one that, was going out to meet people.
Hey, that's
Takes two.
exactly.
Yep.
You gotta have both brains.
The dynamic duo always brings you out.
That's sweet. And so yeah, you guys are teamed up, and then is BDE Boys down the road?
Way down the road.
Okay,
Yep.
well
I
let's
mean,
not
we
jump.
got fucking
2021.
R&B.
R&B, which is
Yeah.
Ryan or Revy and Beltz.
Oh,
My
perfect.
business partner. That's
Boom.
where we made all the music. That's where we formed Moonfest, music festival that we did for 3 years.
Cool.
Having POS as a headliner.
What?
Yep. We had POS as a headliner 1 year. We headlined it 1 year as Modest Music. We did a
That's
full
so cool.
theatrical production performance, 1.5 hour long set of costume changes, everything in between. Like, really took things up to that level.
Yeah.
I love that.
The year before it was POS, and like that, amazing set, amazing everything about it. But we weren't ready to take that big of a financial step at that point.
Mhm.
And it was in Kasota, but shout out to Blue Moon because
Ayo.
they gave us the opportunity and let us, have a platform out there.
Yeah.
And the first year was just literally a bunch of people, from the local community. We had a
That's
bags
sweet.
tournament, donated every single year to charity too, with all the proceeds or anything that we could make off a raffle or donation type,
Wow.
gift. So yeah, it was always all about the community with everything that we were trying to do at that time.
That's cool. Yeah, I like the swinging for the fences style too, where it's like, no, we're gonna, record ourselves. We're gonna throw shows. Like, we're gonna do a full set, like where, Beyonce. It's gonna be a full musical. Like, that's such big ideas. Was there something in your life that started that like chain? Because I'm sure once you do a few things, you get the confidence to try more things.
Yep.
But like, where do you think that started from?
The
'Cause
drive came from like, if you don't put yourself on, nobody else is going to.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we wanted to do these things in the community and like put that positive image out there with everything we were doing. So like when I threw a birthday show, during that like 3-year, 4-year period, we'd have a charity basketball tournament with it and give all the proceeds back. Shout out the Reach. You're doing great things down in Minnesota or Mankato, Minnesota. They're a Lutheran church services program that like helps vulnerable adult or like people that can't support themselves.
Nice.
And our goal always with Modest Music, we always said this, and maybe one day we'll still get to, was to build a local like community center that's free to the public down there. So, you hope things can come full circle like that, but it was just always the drive that there are so many people that need help in this world. So like, if you have the opportunity to do it.
Very,
back.
very commendable, very respectable, especially in an industry where selfishness and ego kind of takes precedence.
It always takes over because everyone wants that image, but we got to be able to have an image that radiates positivity with it.
Very, very well said. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, very interesting and cool that you kind of found more and more people to do it with.
Right.
Do you have any tips on like networking, or how do you know when it is the right person to partner with? Because I don't know if you just got lucky, if you got burned a bunch of times and this is how it shook out, or
I mean, you do get burned along the way, and that's just friendships and relationships in general. But
There's some snakes out there.
of course, but at the end of the day, like, you'll figure it out. I mean, time heals anything. Like, if you just take the time to, keep moving forward and keep progressing, like, there are times that everyone in their life is going to be like, I want to quit, but that's with everything we do in life. So, take that same attitude that gets you to work that next day and put it into your music, and it just keeps things in motion.
Yeah. What kind of sparked I won't say transition, but, party-based lyrics compared to, heady lyrics compared to true lyrics? You've always had a good blend of the two.
Well, when we were grinding on doing shows, and I was that early 21 to 26, like, the whole idea was I was the networking business partner, and Ryan was the more I can financially or figure out what we got to do to make something happen, or just putting that work into putting out music and things like that too. And you need both them people to an extent. Like,
Exactly.
that's something that shifted later in my life views, was like, okay, I need to be able to be both those people. And also too, the later, they always say that you're way more hungover when you're hit that 29, 30-ish, and it's coming. But it, it just shaped my mentality to where I wanted to move it forward. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, we got to take a break. We're sitting down with Beltz Bears.
Beltz.
hey,
On DogStar.
Oh, wow.
Wow, wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
We're sitting down with Beltz.
hey,
Working our way through the timeline. Kind of
Precisely.
touching on the early discography.
yeah, a lot took me to that point of life,
Yeah, it's I think fascinating to follow the journey so far, and we're gaining momentum. So, we're rolling into 2017, 2018, 2019 at this point.
Yep.
I'm looking at Something to Do.
Oh, something to do.
Single coming out after Fountain of Youth.
Yes, that was honestly my most played song that I ever had on. Maybe not anymore, but at the time, all the way up until Lost Not Lonely, that Something to Do single gained the most.
I mean, that's a vibe. That's
I got to perform with Afroman in 2017. We did a show with him back in Mankato.
All right, pump the brakes.
That was
Excuse
right
me?
after Fountain of Youth came out. I got to do Something to Do, and I wrote that for that song or for that show. Like,
How did that experience come about?
man,
Obviously killing it with Fountain of Youth.
yeah, there was a company up here in Minneapolis, CJM, I think is what they go by now. And you had to sell a certain amount of tickets to do it, and anything up and above you'd get, to make money off of. And I was like, first off, I get to play with Afroman. Okay, let's go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then like 100 plus of my friends bought tickets. So it was like,
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that, that's what Something to Do, that momentum from those shows at that Afroman show is actually where I met the owners of the Blue Moon Bar and Grill in Kasota.
Oh,
So that's
yeah.
that's literally how we got to do Moonfest and all those things coming up in those next few years.
That's
the music.
amazing.
That's sweet. You must have made a good impression on him. Was it a good performance?
She literally told us that we did better than Afroman. I mean,
Oh.
don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that by any means,
Right.
but that took our ego up at that time. To like, we got to do something. We got to do something big with that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's
That's
so
an
fun.
amazing opportunity. Yeah. Were you nervous before doing that? Or did you prepare?
Oh, we practiced for weeks and weeks and weeks. One thing that I've always consistently done in music is rehearse. I have a shop, Miller Motors in Mankato. Shout out my crew. Where I rehearse at. And I've always rehearsed there. We set up the speakers at night. We get out the microphones and just get to jam and have fun.
So to a lot of these up and coming musicians here in Minnesota, rehearsing's for losers. Why rehearse? I mean, break it down for them.
100%. You need to be sharp with your stuff, even if you're going to have a backing track on your chorus or something like that. I don't care. I'm not here to hate on all that stuff. But you need to be able to put a sweet harmony over what you're doing then, or make something that you can take the time to interact with the crowd. Crowd work and having a sharp performance where you know your lyrics and you know everything in between is what sets you apart.
Definitely.
I mean, because when you think about like any act that you've ever got to play with, like you always remember the ones that were dope performers.
Do you have any, did you go see any good concerts?
Even in middle school or high school?
That like blew you away?
I mean, I always loved Prof. Like his way to put on a show while he's doing stuff. But honestly, I've met tons of really dope MCs around the Midwest. And that inspires me a lot more than anything else, is like seeing someone local that may not have that big buzz yet, but they can put on a great show.
So post Afroman show, ego boost.
Yeah.
This is leading us into Go. And the description was saying, mental health awareness. Were you personally dealing with any overwhelming things at that time?
Dealt with a lot of mental health issues in my life. I, have anxiety that I fight all the time, which is funny because you're like anxiety with performer, but it's real. I mean, all of us fight battles of our own every which way. Go, especially, I had lost a really good friend back in 2014, and you want to promote mental health. It's so sad how long it took for our medical industry to actually accept mental health or people in general as real things that everyone deals with. So Go was one of the reason I did that. That was the first video I got to do was with Go. Shout out Sebastian, aka Twin Peaks Media at the time, now Phoenix Graphics. So had to name drop a couple times because he literally he believed in my music so much, man. He would come out and shoot my concerts, do the photography for him and videos, and do it just because I was a homie.
How important is support like that in the early days?
That is the only reason you get to where you are now.
Wow.
Genuinely, the videos that we did for Moonfest, we'd have all these people come out and do a live performance for their thing so we could show them on our YouTube page and show them on our Facebook page who these people they're getting to come see that were the local people. And it was all because we believed in the vision of the local community.
That's so cool. Smart. And again, very, very respectable for sure. So about a year later, June of 2020, Scars drops.
Great.
What can you tell us about that, or about that year hiatus, if you even want to call it that?
We were so focused at that time about Modest Music and putting out our label's music that slowly during them next couple years, the singles get way longer in between. And that is simply because we were focused on other people. We knew we had very talented artists at that time that were, they still are. They're making huge steps, and shout out to all of them. Like, I love to see, even though we're not working together anymore, see people still in a positive motion forward.
Totally.
So
That's sweet. And yeah, probably having a little taste of what it takes to be an artist and being able to like give that to
Yeah.
somebody, give them
Yeah.
that juice. It's like, if I had 10 people behind me, look at where I'd be. But it's like, I could be one of the people for you.
Exactly.
Like, and yeah,
Yep.
just push, push, push.
And that's how everyone grows,
And so New Ulm, Mankato, are those close by each other?
Yeah.
Okay.
20 minutes.
Cool. And then there's hip hop going on in Mankato for anybody who doesn't know.
There's tons, actually. The collective I'm part of now, shout out F3. There is literally like 20 some artists that all just like to make music together and like to work together. And it has helped grow everything so much by having that opportunity to just, you gotta, when you have an army behind you, you move forward.
That's powerful. Yeah, having that many like-minded individuals working towards the same thing. It's like, it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
And were any of those individuals integral in creating Lost Not Lonely?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Every person that was on Modest Music label was featured on that album.
I
Nigel
love
T, Beerte, and Hazardous, and Revy. We had
Mm.
all of them part of making it. Shipped out some of the producing to different people in Mankato. Self-Made Glory was a part of it, and Gold Mine Studios was also a part of it.
Cool.
So Lost Not Lonely came out after Modest Music was done.
Really?
Mm.
What led to the, I'll say, demise of Modest Music?
Business relations within, people had disagreements. You put that many people together, and when, different decisions are being made, it's hard to keep things in motion,
Right.
So
Lost
but I got nothing but love for all of them because
totally.
they're also the reason that I put out Lost Not Only, because every one of them was still like, Beltz, you need to still do something, like drop another, something.
Really?
And I had one more single that came out before Lost Not Only, The Light, that we dropped a video for, and that was in that kind of right after go phase, still just trying, to push things. So we were still doing shows, even though we weren't putting out music.
Okay,
I
so
was
performing,
all the time. I mean, we
Awesome.
did tours, we did all sorts of, like, not big national tours, but you hit the Minnesota and South
Yeah.
Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin.
That's still huge.
That's
Yeah.
a tour.
Yeah, for what we were doing, like it was momentum. And it was helping all of our artists gain established, meeting people, networking. And we moved, as a crew and that's why they had, so after it was done, they like all reached out to me because I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done with music.
Really?
You watch something you work so hard on fall apart. COVID happened during that time. And so Moonfest Year 4, this is 100% a real fact.
Mm.
Got emails to prove it. Jack Harlow was supposed to be for Year 4's headliner.
What?
This is before his number one single. What was that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't tell
But
you.
anyways,
I couldn't
Jack
tell you the name.
Yeah. What's Poppin'?
Mm.
Right weeks before What's Poppin' dropped on everything. And we had him like everything planned, and then COVID hit and they started shutting everything down.
Oh.
And so we like, that would have been that year, So I watched so many things negative happening. I also just kind of was shifting, like, if anything needs to stay positive and anything that I know what's making me money and keeping the roof over my head is my shop. And so I had to keep on that motion. But the boys were like, put out Lost Not Only. Like, there are so many, so many songs that they liked. And so I decided, all right, like, we'll finish this chapter.
Did it feel good after that, after releasing it?
Oh,
Or were you
man.
glad you didn't just kind of throw it to the
100%.
wolves? Okay.
100%. It was a fulfilling moment. We, during COVID, went down to Miami because you could still party down there, That's actually where BDE boys, BDE crew. So BDE crew was me and like 10 friends that weren't on BDE or aren't in BDE boys.
Just homies.
Just homies. went down to Miami, created these shirts, BDE Crew, to wear down there. And it became popular, though. We started selling these shirts and like things like that. And we're like, it's a little side hustle. Let's keep this going. But then we shot a music video for Lemonade down there.
Yeah.
And that's where the Lemonade music video came from. We were down there. Sebastian, once again, was with that group.
The videographer.
Shot it for, literally, we were like, no, we want you to come with. So we got you covered. We're going to pay for you to, we got his flights and all that good stuff. And made sure to make it happen. And he's like, okay, well, we're shooting a video while we're down there then.
That's so fun. I mean, you always gotta, even your leisure trips, there always gotta be a little bit of business in there.
Yeah.
Not too much, but a little bit.
And yeah, the process with Lemonade and The Lost Not Lonely is like these little tastes. Like how could you quit doing music with like the amount of fun that's coming out of those?
Man, because after that though, like I didn't know what the next steps were. So like honestly, Lemonade was supposed to be like kind of that final video. I think No Guts still ended up coming out before or after. I don't know, one of the two. I had a music video for that song. But it was like, that was my grand finale. That's where I genuinely thought.
So interesting.
It was done.
What the heck?
It didn't seem like you were tapering off. It seemed like you were ramping up.
I mean, the last track, Adios.
Yeah, it was. And that's actually, that was wrote after the Lost Not Lonely project was done. That song was written at the end because it says like multiple Odays to Modest music in it, like the kind of goodbye, farewell. And that's where Lost Not Lonely was like supposed to be the last. I never announced things like that, but that is where my plan was and where I was moving forward into the next chapter of my life. And it wasn't until 2021 when Demo of Mankato, Minnesota, Mock Production Studios had their opening day. And that's where everything sparked back up.
Boom, Pineapples and Penguins. Boom,
PMP.
Yeah.
BDE Boys become a group originally called The Boys.
Okay.
We started making music. I was like, man, this is what I, like, it was about 2 years at that point since like Modest had been done. And, I'd already, that project I was just sitting on until 2021. And so it reignited things. I was like, okay, like, it's time to go.
And tell me a little about this the Boys Change Up remix.
So the Boys Change Up remix was, I want to say, the first actual Boys song, and then To You came out after that.
Wow.
So it was titled Remix, and it was featuring Exquisite and Demo at the time instead of the Boys until we dropped it on YouTube. We put it under the Boys channel. And we made the video. Yep.
That's slick.
Yeah, it's interesting how that kind of progresses into it because it's like, oh, well, we need a new YouTube for this new group, for this new this, and then blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Locked In.
And that's where that year after I met Demo is where I started the trials. And that's where, we got Cooking Wheels Forward, 20-song album.
Yeah, Swinging for the Fences again, 20-song album.
No more singles.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have any favorite long concept albums of any genre?
Oh, man. I honestly, concept albums in general are my favorite thing.
That's so cool.
There's something about telling a story and referencing two songs within songs and seeing like, the broader range of what something could be. And so Money vs. Love actually was the first recorded song. That song was made like right away, and then the rest of the project came out later.
Whoa.
And Money vs. Love was like, okay, I got something here, like the trials, Money versus Love. And so the original thing for the trials was supposed to be called The Trials of a Gemini.
Gemini?
Yep.
No.
Okay.
Yep. And then as I shaped it more into the Money vs. Love thing, I was like, no, I'm just going to call it The Trials. That way, also, too, if I ever decided in the later years of my life to do a Trials 2, I could do like, have like happy versus sad, or
Right.
whatever that idea is at that time.
That's so interesting and so cool that Money vs. Love is the first track on the album. It was the first one recorded. It's
Very
the first
first
one.
thing. Yep.
Gosh.
Yep. Until we came back and reopened that file to do the skit on the end of it. Like, I don't know, it must have been a full year plus later.
What?
Yeah.
We've got about a minute left till we got to take a break. What do you like about skits and albums?
Man, so the one thing with the trials is it featured all of F3. It literally, I got to work with every single person, and every single person brought what concept I wanted them to be a part of, whether it was money or love, to be a part of it.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And that's so cool to learn the kind of cohesion of multiple different music scenes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're sitting down with Beltz. Follow him on Instagram, Beltz with a Z, Bears.
Sure.
Spotify and everything. It's just Beltz.
Just Beltz. So Beltz is the logo.
Right. Make sure to find
Beltz Bears.
Yeah. Hey
perfect.
Oh yeah, got
Oh,
it
yeah.
on the lid.
Yep. Came prepared.
F3 BDE boys. Check out all the music videos. These guys look like they're having a lot of fun when they're doing it, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
But they're working hard. Don't forget it.
Yeah, don't forget they're working hard.
Never stop grinding.
We'll be right back talking about what's to come here on DogStar.
Bow wow.
Wow, wow.
Bow wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
And I'm still here.
Hey yo,
Yes.
sitting down with Beltz.
We're talking about trials. Just kind of talking about the concept, the love versus money.
The return to music.
And I mean, interesting how this this waning part of, like, there's less music in your life, but at the same time, it's giving you all this to write about for this project. Like,
100%.
crazy how that works.
One thing with life and what most people do with their music is they want to express what they're going through and the different things they're experiencing, and that's what Money vs. Love was. And just so you guys are aware, love pretty much wins, but money is what also kind of balances that out.
No spoilers.
Yeah, nothing too deep.
Yeah.
Well, what truths, what realities the BDE boys telling?
Man, with that group, a whole lot of fun.
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
It's, best day ever, big D energy, all those things in between. Whether it's PG-13 or, we're going to do an all ages show, we want to radiate positivity and have a lot of fun with our music. And so BDE boys came with meeting Demo at the studio, working with him all the time on the trials, so I had met actually Exquisite before Demo, and then we kind of kindled and connected, during that next chapter in there.
Wasn't
Nice.
Exquisite on Not Your Father's Root Beer with Joey Bones? Or who am I thinking of?
No, that was his older brother T.Y. used to be in a group, and
Okay.
it was group members from that collective.
sick.
Yeah, and Joey Bones was on that song too.
I
Man.
love Joey
But
Bones.
Exquisite
Yeah.
was on the trials.
Okay,
That's how
where
long
I'm
I knew
thinking.
him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I met Exquisite working in a smoke shop back in the day. Technically, I guess I don't remember when we met because I was blacked out at a bowling alley, partying hard.
Partying hard.
Too much root beer that night. So
I was gonna say that could be the next album, Blacked Out at the Bowling Alley.
that'd be classic.
That would be. I mean, I could see the BDE boys doing it, and the music video,
Sure.
all like Galaxy Bowling, black
Absolutely,
bite,
the
like,
lasers and all.
yeah, man.
And I know a majority of your own solo album covers you've at least designed. Are you doing any of that for the BDE boys? Did you do any of that for Modest Music Artists?
So nope. Everyone
Designing the
on Modest
logos.
Music had done their own stuff.
Okay.
And Design 23 on Instagram is the creator of all my Beltz Bear stuff, all the covers of the
Cool.
BDE boys.
Wow.
She went to school in Mankato, was a friend of a friend, and literally never to this day have met her in person, but she has done phenomenal work
Just
for
locked
us.
Oh
in.
my god.
I can't express working with her enough.
That's huge.
The trials though was done by one of my good friends, Kara, and she literally took a design that I had drawn in a notebook and turned it
Mhm.
into the reality of what it became.
Yeah, a lot of crazy symbolism on there.
Tons.
I love it.
Tons. You know,
I mean,
the original picture is kind of all scrambled. If you go to my Instagram, you can find it on there.
yeah.
And she simplified things down, but kept every little detail that I wanted.
So interesting. Yeah, it's cool. It was cool to see both. I did see that the side-by-side pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
It reminded
Yep.
me of like watching something that's dubbed but with the subtitles on it. You're getting
Right.
like the two interpretations of the
renditions
same
of it.
thing.
Yeah. Yep. And she actually had done an alternative cover for it too, so that may still come to light with something later on. You
Or
know,
like the behind the CD in the album.
right?
You
You open
know?
it up, and physical copies still need to be made. So that's a very, very good idea. I like that.
Gotta do it.
2 years after its predecessor, Pineapples and Penguins 2 comes
Two.
out. Also with
Mhm.
Demo, obviously.
Yep. Yep.
And
And
what-
PMP3 may be somewhere in the
Oh.
way future.
Uh-oh,
you know.
uh-oh,
Exclusive. Or
Stop!
not.
Stop!
Cut that. No. That's so exciting. And what made you guys want to do another P&P?
We knew so we missed the 1-year anniversary. That was originally what was going to be. 2-year anniversary was coming up, and I was like, dude, we have to do this. And outside, while we were making the trials on a little smoke break, we were just bumping beats, and we're like, this should be PMP too.
Oh.
And we just started singing it and added a little bit more to the chorus. And PMP is one of my favorite things because it's just like, it's fun, you know, like that's all it's meant to be. It's meant to be a vacation vibe.
Yeah.
Be a good, happy moment.
That's fun.
And who designed the album covers for those two tracks?
PMP 2, I did.
What? That's impressive.
Thank
That's
you.
like expressionist abstract painting.
Partially AI.
Okay.
AI can help me through a lot of things like that.
But what about the first one, just with the lone pineapple-y penguin?
So fun fact about PMP 1 is it was the original idea of that song was originally just me. And while I was working with Demo at his studio, I showed him that song and he's like, you should let me do the chorus. I was like, you should do the chorus. That's a great idea.
Nice.
And so that was for a clothing company called Tropical Tundra. That is his pineapple and penguin logo. Tropical Tundra was originally from Minneapolis here.
Sick.
Moved out to Bali 6-7 years ago.
Awesome.
But when you went to his website a couple years ago, our song would play it when you
Oh,
came on. The
nice.
original one. Yep.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
And from there we just kept it going, and we're at where we're at today with it.
Yeah, do you think any of like the business side like you're doing for your company is coming into play with like the moves you're making in the music?
Oh, 100%. As
'Cause,
I'm
yeah, that
progressing
sounds
forward.
like a
Yeah. In the beginning it was strictly the music partying. Then I phased into that business, and now a lot of the decisions I make are based that way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that
So, like,
seems like a next level.
Us playing with the Moondogs, we play for or perform at the Moondogs games in Mankato.
Sick.
We both get business advertising there.
Right.
You know, that's part of our deal. So I'm always a lot more shifted into the world of my business now.
That's huge. And yeah, that'll only keep things ramping up, man.
Right.
That's super exciting.
The end of 2023 saw the release of Night Terriers, which is a kind of, I'll say spooky vibe,
Yeah.
haunting vibe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What influenced the content of that song?
It was a newer version of Go, except for I was talking about my actual demons, my things that I was battling. And before that, actually probably before the trials, I guess, was X's and O's,
That's right.
which was another one. So X's and O's and Night Terrors. Every so often, I always want to put out something about mental health.
Mental health,
It just
checking
needs to be
in.
talked about, you
Yeah.
know? And so having the platform to do that has been nothing but putting out positive energy. You know, like you're talking about something negative, but it's okay to be talked about.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do is break down them walls with that.
And do you personally still find, catharsis when you play it nowadays? When you play some of those deeper songs? Or will you
They
keep 'em-
resonate.
Sick.
Yeah, absolutely. 110%. I regularly listen to my old stuff. You know, I try not to ever lose that part of me. You know, even though things are changing, that was me. And it's like kind of, listening to your songs, at least for me, is part of going back like a memory book.
Yeah, look how far I've come.
Right.
That's
And
so
where I was,
exactly. That's so cool.
I mean, speaking of making these pieces of art and having them help you remember what was going on,
Yeah.
like what's been going on the last couple of years, and what projects are you gonna be remembering?
Man, BDE boys have been steady making up numbers. We're dropping EPs pretty consistently, working on a
Ooh.
project, maybe an album, something like that.
Uh-oh.
But it's just getting to do our bigger shows like that. We got to play with Flow Rida.
Nice.
so cool.
Played Ribfest in Mankato, which
Awesome.
was sold out at 12,000 plus people.
That's crazy.
So them opportunities for me have reopened them doors. They've regained my traction. They're the reason I put out, these newer songs too. And I'm trying to keep that momentum forward.
Yeah.
Speaking of radio hymns and strings on balloons.
Yeah.
Those are the two most recent singles of your solo discography. Let's talk a little bit about those. Those are both, I'd say, radio bangers.
Exactly.
And what you're seeing in radio hymns and strings on balloons is this progression of my artistry moving forward.
Totally.
Diving into that blues, that I got some country stuff I'm working on. I got
Sick.
some rock and roll type, like punk. I want to go back to them songs that I listened to when I was young and feel them through my music.
Yeah.
So getting that opportunity to push it forward, radio hymns, I got my dad on.
What?
Yeah, he sang on the actual YouTube video, and we used that phone recording of him singing in the pool down there to my song and underlaid it in radio hymns chorus.
That's so cool.
Whoa.
And
So we went down there on vacation earlier this year, and I was like, man, it's so beautiful down there. I need to shoot some content. Long story short is that it ended up becoming a whole music video, which is out on my YouTube. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, my dad's already featured in like one party, just came into it and started dancing around. And when he started dancing around, I was like, I need him to sing something or, one more
Right.
of just him. And that's what it became from there.
That's
so cool.
Interesting.
And yeah, having making sure the song is done and the video is done before you're dropping it is the only way you would have had that opportunity. So that's very interesting to think about, that you could sprinkle in something from the music video into the song if you wait to drop the
Right.
song. It's gotta be hard to wait to drop some of these songs, but
100%.
that's crazy.
And in classic Beltz style, the second track you sent over is referenced in the first track you sent over, Strings on Balloons.
I like paying O'Day to my stuff.
I love it.
I do that in the trials. I have a song that literally uses almost every song of Lost Not Lonely's name title in the chorus.
Which song is that? I must have missed that.
That is
That's awesome.
Say Less.
Okay.
Say Less. It's towards the end. It's in the deliberation section of the album. And on Say Less, I drop every single, Lemonade, Lost Not Lonely, Be Right Back, and one other one.
That's so cool.
Yeah, weaving the multiverse. That's wild.
We've
But
got
yeah,
about 1 minute left. What can you tell us that's on the horizon, or you just did a show?
So, we just played Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That was super fun. Consistently pushing towards the future on releases. I got one that will be dropping really, really soon.
Awesome.
And that is called Sparks in July. Sparks in July is coming out right before July 4th.
Boom.
And then we just had 2014 The Stones come out.
Yes.
And so with that, another kind of mental health single, and I'm talking to myself back in my 21-year-old self, and showing myself that everything's going to be okay. Like, you're going to lose good people on the way. You're going to go through a bunch of stuff, It's going to change your perspective multiple times, but at the end of the day, you're still okay and you're still doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, we can't appreciate you enough for doing what you're doing, for coming through today, talking to us,
I can't
talking with
appreciate
fans.
enough being here. You know,
Heck yeah.
What an honor it was to be here with you guys today. Seriously.
Feelings
That means a lot.
mutual.
Yeah.
Check out Beltz Bears on Instagram. Beltz everywhere. DogStar Podcast.
Bow wow.
Won't cut me down, I finally need nothing. Made my life and I finally feel something. Good news, bad news, I finally felt above it. Pen game, paint a picture without the brushes. Bells, bears, catch a dub as I'm jumping. Sunday morning come, we snooze until we loving. Body language spoke that we might just be like a chord for strumming, line for drumming. Listen to the radio, hymns that I'm humming like. A chord for strumming, line for drumming. Listen to the radio, hymns that I'm humming like. Flipping through some old cartoons, Tom and Jerry. After that, the Looney Tunes. Yeah, look at all the life we consume. Saying peace to the life of drowning in saloons. Stone like Zeus on top the mountain's doom. Drop from the heavens whenever I feel the gloom. What's the remedy for my pain I search within? Battle of these sins will make him radio hymns. Life hasn't fed my mind with a silver spoon. Often I feel the blues driving under the moon. When you seen a noose, that's enough to refuse that your life will drift away like strings on balloons. A chord for strumming, line for drumming. Listen to the radio, hymns that I'm humming like. A chord for strumming, line for drumming. Listen to the radio, hymns that I'm humming like. Got 'em humming like. Got 'em humming like. Came a little out of my tune, speaking about shades other than blue. I drift away into the night. If you're lost, well now you're found. If you're gone, well I'm around. Well I'm around. Been floating to the moon. High life like strings on balloons. Been floating to the moon. High life like strings on balloons. Facing Diablo, playing piano, smoking bravado, whipping the lago. They gonna follow, bet on the logo, taking the high road, walking in passion. Hope is my dope. Here's your rose, travel the globe, flashing a stroke, spoken in hope. You already know they calling out for me. If you're lost, well now you're found. If you're gone, well I'm around. Well I'm around. Been floating to the moon. High life like strings on balloons. Been floating to the moon. High life like strings on balloons. Like strings on balloons.